Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the PEL Phase 3, week number 4. We are back onto the old classic Erangel. And a team I want to focus on coming into this one, Rich, is a team that just finished second, Team Liquid. Spoke to them earlier on and they basically said, I don't know what's going on with our Erangel right now. We drop in the middle, it should be easy. But they've been having a lot of problems on Erangel over the last few weeks. 21
points in total today isn't all too doom and gloom, I suppose. So things are a little bit faring better than last week. I mean, Lauren picked up on it at one point, questioned some of the players been out in the open, just getting caught off guard.
Well, they went piling into that compound and then IP and got absolutely obliterated. They thought they'd finally made it to a center compound and got destroyed.
There are, look, I mean, we've kind of said this before, you can't. James was almost on his deathbed, bless him. He was hunched over with his hood up. He looked awful, did the lad. So, you know, when someone's like that and when a whole team sometimes affected, it happened to DESPERADO's the previous week where the whole team literally just was completely out of it altogether and they end up getting 5 points. But I agree. I think so far we've not seen that spark. We've not yet seen that FaZe winning team. If they wanted to put a FaZe trophy in the cabinet, this is the one time to do it, especially for the 2019 season, because once these next 2 weeks, after these 2 days, next 2 weeks is done, that's it. We're rolling on to a new season completely.
I want to see, especially from a European perspective, one of these teams dominate. Step up and dominate, which well obviously means you can go into PGC and be like, this is the European team that is #1.
Let me throw something back at you. The team that we have on screen, remember when they dominated FaZe and went to an international tournament?
That's true, but FaZe, I mean, actually, when FaZe won, they didn't dominate, in fairness. They came through, but they didn't dominate.
Whereas we saw, literally, domination coming out from ENCE. It was disgusting, and they bottled out in groups.
I mean, I don't know what to make of FaZe 1. FaZe 1 was such a strange one because...
It's a shame no points carry over, innit?
Well, I think you could read into it the fact that obviously it was a compressed season over 3 weeks, and some teams were prepared for it, some teams weren't. I think it was as that. Obviously, there'd been 2-3 months without like top level competition. There'd obviously been a lot of online stuff.
Houses,
internet. There was a lot of variables that went into that season. So while obviously you have to give ENCE credit because they did dominate that, it clearly was a one-off. It seems, you know, and to use the word one, because obviously that was their formula name, they never had that online before. Yeah, they had a slightly different rosters, etc. Good to see someone actually using the aiming. Yes, Chris, yes. Yes, that's what I want to see. Instead of just sitting around doing whatever, he's actually using it. And G2 need it right now, honestly. They are a team that's been trailing behind. But yeah, I really want to see... Everybody expects Team Liquid to be there. I want to see them start to step up. A team that is stepping up is TSM. They have really stepped it up this phase. They've made a bold move, in fairness. Gustav, you know, a big buddy of his, Wookie Bookie, who, you know, Danish friends, they've been together for a long time in teams. The old Lumber Mill days and before that. You know, to make a team change, at the end of the day, mates are mates, but these teams are pros. They are paid to work and paid to win.
Let's kind of...
To make that change to bring Iroh in. Obviously, everybody saw Iroh. They know he was a brilliant player.
Yeah.
But it was still a gamble.
I don't necessarily know on that one. I kind of have to question that a little bit for the simple fact that Wookie Bookie was, and still is, one of the greatest marksmen in Europe. He could paper face a ridiculous amount of meters.
Bolt action.
With bolt action. We're not in a bolt action meta. Honestly, I don't think we ever will be. It's just not with the DMRs, how they are, how they're structured. We'll never have a complete snipe fest. You'll never see snipers excelling in the leagues, even in the next patch, how we are, just because of the fundamentals behind how strong the DMRs are. You bring in someone like Iroh, who is an aggressive player, in your face, can spray, can use the air, and that's not to discredit Wookie Bookie in any shape or form. But what TSM needed was just the perfect puzzle slot. He's fit in, he's complemented them well, and on top of all this, I still think we don't speak enough about coaches. Dids to round this off as the 5th man is absolutely perfect. This team is by far the greatest iteration of TSM we've ever seen, and I honestly think it's going to do absolutely bloody fantastic when we get to PGC. And I do think they're guaranteed to get there.
I think they will get there. There's going to have to be a big slip up over the next 2 weeks for them to not get there at the moment. How clear are they at the moment at the top there?
They are 6 points shyly of 400.
Yeah, but how far ahead of everyone else?
They are, the next person's FaZe Clan on 363.
Yeah, so they got a good lead, and that's over FaZe Clan. So it has been successful, but it's Sosnovka, maybe, because we've been there so many times. I don't think we're going to get it this time around. I'm feeling it. It's going to be a mountain circle. It's going to be a hospital circle where it's gone so many times. Who knows? Who knows? We've had a number of different circles. You guys actually almost had a Stauma circle the other week. Actually, you almost had a Zaki circle. I was excited, and then it slipped down south.
And then it kind of, when we've seen those fields in play before.
I was like,
the fields are kind of funky because once you leave the buildings in North George and leave the apartment blocks, it's like going out of the trenches. You've just got to go up and up. Oh, well, this is interesting.
Okay.
Early action, boys and girls. Here we go. Rory has a pistol, and Ira doesn't look like he has absolutely anything.
Well, TSM just want to get a vehicle. That's all they wanted, to get a vehicle and get out of there. But Knights have reacted in kind to said this and realized, obviously, the situation with the circle is not ideal. There's a Bison been picked up by Rory. The circle, by the way, has gone pretty much centering onto Georgie Pol, so we'll keep on that. But this is obviously where the action is. We're just talking and hyping TSM. These are not situations any team wants to be in because there is such a random element of luck involved in simply what you find in those buildings. We're seeing Bison on Bison action here, possibly.
AKMs, SLRs, everything. But the more important factor here is gear. If you do not have a helmet, it doesn't make... No one cares for love nor money what weapon you've got. If you get tapped in the head, you are going down.
This could be about who's got the support. Look at Gustav off in the distance. He's picked a mutant up. He's shooting from range. Now, Znark is off. He's the only player from the Knights that's not in this compound, whereas Michael is also off. So TSM only have 2 in here at the moment.
Rory does have a level 2 helmet. That gives him some kind of defense. I'm still seeing hair. Strands of hair on all 3 members of the Knights. That suggests that not one single player has a frigging helmet. The door's open as an initial sign of bait. Rory's back and he's just sitting, holding an angle. Maybe he can see out the side of the door.
Back. Michael's coming back.
If Michael comes back, applies pressure on the backside. If Ira also has gear, depending what scope he's got on that M16. It's actually the first time I really want to see third person because I want to know what gear people have. Well, no scope, no helmet. Is that a helmet on Ira? That would suggest no with the silhouette.
FaZe were wise. They went down to Prim. They were just like, we're not having any of that. They have been caught. It's actually ironic. This is almost down historic levels because FaZe were caught so many times with those planes. They would get caught up in a fight with G2 down the bottom there, or whatever other teams or the Knights, and it would always go badly for them in and around that horrible sort of area where there's multiple different compounds and such. Which is why, you know, they obviously wisely chose to either go to Sosnovka, go over to Prim, go over to wherever else the plane ends up. And it has worked out well for them so far. But this is not what TSM were hoping for. Meanwhile, of course, we are approaching the 4-minute mark, so a lot of teams are already starting to get the hell out of there. Team Liquid heading straight for the mountain, as you would expect. James and SIMSY. We haven't actually mentioned the fact that it was their birthdays yesterday, by the way. Jemty SIMSY, 24 years old yesterday. A fitting tribute from the Team Liquid
I saw someone online which made me giggle. Someone, I think it was deleted very shortly, but I did see someone said, "Oh, it's your birthday on the same day." You know, you just think, well. Elder
brother SIMSY as well. I was like, who was the oldest? By about 20 minutes, apparently. But it still counts. NOP going across the West Bridge. They have chosen to go north, George Paul. So they're banking on this going north. NOOKIE caught out. Jemty already got there.
Beat him.
4.5 minutes.
Beat him. There we go.
Some Finnish love there.
You'd love to see it. Just as an update, TSM, all 4 players did evacuate the scenario. Same goes for the Knights, and both of them actually are going home. The Knights are going to hit around prison.
We're late looting that, isn't it?
Yeah, prison mansion area, and all of TSM, I think, unless they flex it here towards top of farm, look like they're going back towards Miltar. Saving grace is that a lot of people will go deep on this one, more towards the central side, and there's 2 entry points into this one, because you have that snaking river that runs beneath.
Oh no, Sigzy. This is not good for him. Calvin's coming over the top. Yeah, the overhead position.
There's quite a few.
Him off guard. It's been a bad day for a Razor Edge, to be fair. They have not had a good day of it. 16th in the last game as well.
Yeah, they've been slowly slipping down that leaderboard. 7th at the moment. And we're looking solid towards the first start of the few weeks, but last week might have been the start of a slippery slope that they are heading down towards.
I mean, they're one of the, what, 4 teams that have got 5 wins plus within the league, so they've had good moments, no doubt about it, but the wheels come off a little today. N47 coming on the edge of shooting range, hence to the north of them. So a lot of these teams kind of committing to a northern swing of this course. They're feeling it. We'll see. I'd be happy. I do like a circle in that North Georgia area. But we've seen it so often swing south. Yeah, you guys had that. Everybody almost banked on the north, right, last week, and then it swung south, and oh my word, chaos ensued. Great to see, though.
We had some fun circles last week.
Yeah.
Had some cruel ones as well. Quite funny.
I mean, it's entertaining for us, but it's torrid for the players. They hate to see it. Oh, no, he's going... miikaz's going straight into the players. Yeah, that was total bait from Sadovnik to draw them into the other players. And now Fex and Bjorn's going to somehow get past. Bjorn's going straight up to them.
I'm surprised they've committed to continue that run.
I don't really know why Bjorn... That's
just
obviously bad communication within the game. There's no doubt about it. That's pure... Like, they just drove straight up to the house where he just got obliterated a minute ago.
They could get Fex as well, to be fair, if they keep on applying the bullets.
In the water. We're back in 2017. I thought he was just going to plumb straight in the water.
I think that's because he's going for the boat, to be fair.
Yeah. He's out in the boat. But what I mean
is, you mean just the old one, commitment?
The olden days, they used to just... used to see literally Darcius flying into the river.
Ditching it hard. Oh, Senya, that thing's rolling. Stop. There we go. We're fine. This is fine. Okay, update on the map. Where is everybody? TSM, Milta. They're still looting the Knights. 2 players left back toward Lepovka. 2 are up front, Wanted and Znak. They're heading on into the circle. Northern side of the river, NIP, DA, N47, Raise Your Edge, Desperados. The rest of GamerLegion or whatever's left. CrowCrowd, they'll take the Cube compound across the road. And then on the opposing side, the little Harry Potter. Everyone else down south and committing to it. G2 have gone across the main bridge as you come out of Rosok and the little mini island. They're heading up the hillside. M47 will be lingering there, so they have to be careful.
Very interesting. If you guys got the map, you look at it, you can see that actually the big teams, and I'm talking Na'Vi, FaZe, Liquid, are all committed to the south, whereas the smaller teams, the ones that are gambling for a chance, have all gone for the north. So it is a really big gamble. Like, the experienced teams are saying, okay, and obviously we saw FaZe in hospital last week, being very successful in hospital coming out of there. They've all sort of edging on this north-south split.
It's just luck at this point. I hate
to
use
G2
that
are kind
word.
of gone for the middle line ground,
I despise that word.
Oh, yeah.
But it is, for the first 3 phases, it's just luck. Whichever way it goes, complete and utter RNG. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing will stop it from heading wherever it wants to head.
You can try and base it off experience in hours played and circles, but at the end of the day, like you say, there is always that element of, like, you think you've got it sussed and then bam.
People think there's tendencies. Swings. I'll go with that. And after playing so many games, maybe there is. These pro players know more than us. But
it's programming, Richard. There's always a tendency.
Well, look, there's a 50-50 split here in teams, so clearly they're as clueless as what we are. Towards the north we go. Georgia Paul in the south. This could be a Zaki circle.
Look at TomiL. TomiL's like, I got this, boys! That is such a strong position that he's in right now in that hills. Oh, my word. And we've seen it finish in those fields so many times in, I would say 2018. We've not seen it in 2019 very much at all.
So only in Circle 4 will we get the land ratio coming into play, but this gives the chance that Zaki could be in. We are at least heading towards the north and to the very tip as well. Depending where the next circle goes, again, for the next few, still weird, wonderful, and random. It could be anything in anyone's game, but this is going to be a fun one. We'll see how many people commit to the apartment blocks, because that's where the danger zone is. Everyone comes down there, and then eventually when the circle forces them out, if they play edge, it becomes an absolute bloodbath. People just playing on the edge of that ditch, amongst the fields, amongst whatever's left. Oh, this could be not only fun, but could be messy as well.
So FaZe are going to be looking out and saying there was a team ahead of us. The gunfire is definitely coming from that west bridge. So
He's out. He's gone. He's bailing on it. See you, boys.
Jump for it, Krabic.
Oh,
Krabic, I don't think you're safe down there, son. Yeah, so FaZe wisely chose to scout that one out and check the west bridge. They're actually just scouting it right now. You can see on the map. So they're saying, yep, that's definitely not a safe point. as we see more explosions. The hillside of North Georgia Pole as DA, they've gone in towards that little compound there. GL there. Obviously NIP are going to be pushing onto the back of it. Team Liquid have gone to the other side of the hills as well as G2. Trying to keep themselves alive. Yannis should be revived here. And let's N47 continue. The nades are just a little short, but that one's going to get closer. Any more?
At least they've removed the vehicle from them. That might annoy them even more, to be fair. The smokes are down so they can get it.
Oh, no.
There is something about
Gax
a crab
is just
and water here.
Come on.
Crabs are good swimmers, right? So it should be okay.
It's going to go sideways, though.
It might be the same for him. That's such a terrible joke. Oh, God.
So FaZe made it over. They've gone into North George Apartments area. TSM, by the way, and obviously the Knights. Knights are way up on the coastline. N47, they engaged with G2. You can see that's G2 returning some fire on them. They are actually probably going to get the Knights coming towards them. TSM and the Knights may clash again. They're both going for that northern coastal road.
It really worries me because, like, once all these teams come in, that's really the main point of entry. I suppose TSM might play edge here. They're worrying about the compounds in front of them, that they are going to have teams taking residency in. I really like Team Liquid's position on this. They're taking that hillside that comes out and rolls off the back of the apartment blocks and denies any point of entry in the center, I want to say, of all of North George. But the problem is further afield. You have Reciprocity, FaZe Clan, lots of them. And you touched on all the big teams, Lee. They banked on it wrong. They now have to make and do all the work to get up here. A few teams have done, but they're just kind of amongst the wolves.
Navi are coming right in on the heels of TSM as well. We just saw G2.
G2 are holding TSM
G2 are keeping them at bay. Now, G2 just took a lot of shots at night, so TSM are well aware that G2 are somewhere in and around that hill. We heard Chris's mutant popping off there, but Navi are absolutely piling in behind them as well. Navi have pulled up. There it goes. It is going to the fields. ENCE, I like what they've done. I like the fact they committed to this hill. Now, where Desperados are, we've seen it finish in and around that little crossroads area. I think in Phase 2, was it? I believe it was. I'm pretty sure when FaZe and DA ended up in the final two. If I remember, Iro, ironically, in the last ones there. But how this is going to work. Okay, Team Liquid is sending it. They're going to go for the ditch. There's the ditch next to the road. That's probably what they're going to commit for. And there it is. James will pull up. SIMSY going to be alongside him. TSM, they can come down the hillside. That compound is open at the moment. It is edge, but it is inside the circle.
So with this next one, as we move into Phase 4, Lee kind of touched on it a little bit. This circle will fit itself into as much land as humanly possible, so we should expect to see an extreme hard shift all the way to the north. Puts as much land in. That puts the field where ENCE are smack bang center. Where CrowCrowd are, you will see a little bit of a hill stroke mountain. Generally speaking, we don't see the circle come there, so it should come more to the east than it does the west. Again, we're speaking rather loosely here, but we can kind of predict where it's going to end, and all these teams now will be fixating to try and get a really prime position for that field ending.
Team Liquid, they've gone for a 2-2 split. They've gone back to that compound on the eastern edge of the circle, and TSM are on the hills above them now. I thought TSM were going to get it for free. Reciprocity also coming into that position. We're going to see a clash. So I don't know whether that's a risky play for Team Liquid for a two-man hold. They have got two in the fields that can offer some range support, but we'll see how it works out for them.
I mean, the only way you get that is, I suppose, if you, A, they're there to hold teams, or B, they're praying for the hard shift. But at the moment, that's such a... They're going to get breached. I can see TSM is now actually committing to that building. This is dangerous waters for Team Liquid. Yeah,
now remember, they have two on the side. Look at the minimap, but they are getting engaged. SAMT and IBI are coming in vehicles. So this immediately has not really worked out for Team Liquid unless they can pull off something magnificent from these buildings. James, he saw that nade roll past his feet and ran for his life. Here comes the committal, but look, the support's coming, but Reciprocity are now in the hills above them. IBI and co want to get in those hills to give the cover fire, but Reciprocity are going to pick them apart as soon as they get up there.
There's the first initial knock, spins on a dime. Scoom says no, not today. Two people fall back to back though. Scoom will be able to hold SAMT. Only for a limited time, but doesn't matter whatsoever. Udyr will at least go for the commit on it. And yeah, that 2-2 split was rather overzealous, and now they're left in what? Did TSM actually lose anybody?
James is the only man left. TSM are down one, but James is the last man standing, and actually FaZe stole the kill.
They're stealing two, Lee. They've got Scoom as well.
Yeah, they've nicked them off the... Oh, because they've come on the North Hill. I didn't even know. They've rotated out of the apartments and come up the hillside behind Reciprocity. So they've heard all these shots. And now FaZe are decimating Reciprocity. You can see Monkey's in his vehicle. He's getting the hell out of there. There goes Jeems in 16th place for Team Liquid, who honestly, they were on the road. They were in the ditch on the road in a prime position for the next circle. They got greedy. They went for that compound as well, and they tried to gamble it. Bad move.
Oh no, Rec, they're trying to make a run, but this is dangerous territory. There's a very few little spots you can do this. I'm surprised they're going up and over the hill, to be honest, because there's going to be so many teams. My people need me. I must leave. Yeah, you'll be leaving the server, my friend.
It was literally a Hail Mary as he went over there. G2 are doing a similar thing. They're going to crash maybe onto ENCE on the hillside in the middle of the fields. ENCE have got many people in there. They're just piling straight past. They're going to go past. They want to get to this ridge line. There's a good compound the other side of it Raise Your Edge are currently holding, but there's a ridge line there that should be safe territory if they can all get there. NELLOZ looks like he's the only man that didn't make it. Yannis has had to bail off his bike as well, but that is a good play from G2 to... I would say good play. It was a bit of a ballsy play, but it paid off for them.
You can at least hit the veins of all those individual little runs on that. It's not the most cover in the world, but the fact that you can lay down amongst them, it gives you some level of support. I still think that this is going to come towards the east, where ENCE and GamerLegion now. Oh, man, if I were Raise Your Edge, I'd be trying to play forward on this one and maybe take up a little bit of residency on where G2 were.
I want to go back to that Team Liquid play because they were around there. It was clearly hesitant in-game calling because they were there. They moved to the road. All four of them moved to the road, and then two of them went back to the compound. And now, the way teams work is, when you're scouting, you see a team leave, you move into that compound. It's like a domino effect where these teams move. So they effectively tried to counter the domino and just basically countered themselves.
Two other things that may have kind of thrown this one into the wind. TSM are playing late game. They rocked up to the party, probably rather unexpectedly.
But you're going to expect someone to come from that hill, right?
Agreed. But I think they're expecting Reciprocity. If they had the read on Rec, then fair play. They'll have known that was there because there was one team coming over the brow of the hill. But two teams made it at the wrong time. So maybe they just didn't have enough manpower to commit to two different teams. If they'd have come back, you got to think, if Rec weren't there, that could have potentially worked. They could have taken the hillside.
What? Lucky well, he's dead now as well, Gustav, because he's going to go in towards them. He just drops off Iroh in the field. Iroh's, by the way, this is the exact spot where Iroh was with DA and managed to make it work and get second place. Iroh is like, I know this place. Leave me here.
I'm thinking outside the box here. If two players of Liquid had made it to that hillside, they'll have had full vision on the windows up top, which would have stopped the advancement.
It would have, yeah. That was the play,
from TSM. So the big issue is that two teams rocked up at the same time. Either way, still for that circle. To say you had a more central point and to go for the buildings in 2-2, it's risky, and unfortunately, they got punished for it.
Yeah, I mean, we never know what the information the teams have, but
no,
I would be very interested to have a chat with them and hear about how that call worked out. They're generally pretty honest with what they say. FaZe trying to make a really tricky push across the fields, and you can see the ENCE's position. Now, this is the one we were talking about. It's that raised ridge line in the middle of the fields. It gives such a great aerial view of everything around them. It is risky because everybody's also looking at you, but as you can see, FaZe, this is the problem. Once you're outside of it, while it was great, they came up behind Reciprocity and destroyed them and did a lot of damage. Now they're in no man's land and they're just getting picked apart. And there's only so many smokes you can have to find a ditch.
I mean, they've got a fair few and they're doing whatever they can. mxey has kind of run off to try and draw the attention, which if that was the play, we've seen him do before to try and keep someone alive, which might make Fuzzface's life a little bit easier, but he's just been tracked so hard.
Look for the kill feed. Seven's about to explode. I don't think they're going to be able to survive out of there. They've actually made it. They made it. NIP were lighting them up. G2. Where did that nade go? Chris is like, I heard it. I didn't see it.
Remember what we spoke about? All the teams towards the west? Well, lo and behold, they now have to work their way down from that mountainside, from the roadside, and there's still tons and tons of players.
Okay, he's got 88 on that one. That's good.
That's why he's going for the low ball, committing the utility.
Well, remember that obviously with G2, with the Knights, with TSM, they were all going to be low loot because they all had to make these long, different loot paths effectively, especially with TSM and the Knights. They held each other up, which is why they're both gone now. But G2 were in a similar position. They were having to spread loot all over the shop outside of their usual happy area. Fuzz is not long with this world, and that will be the last man for FaZe. Rustanmar's just trying to find it. There we go. FaZe will go down 13th place. So at the top of the table, it's not really, well, actually benefits TSM because they've still got the two alive in the field, right?
Raise your edge, you're just going to bail on this. And when I say bail, I mean just YOLO it.
Well, if lxey gets to the hillside, but no, okay. I'm going to say if he gets to the hillside position, it should be okay, but CrowCrowd see him instantly.
It's a bit weird to see a couple, I suppose there's nothing else to play with at the moment, so that's why they are lingering, but you wouldn't expect CrowCrowd to kind of be lingering here. It's a bit of no man's land. They are rather split. I prefer to see them grouped up a little bit more here and going for the refrag. Should one of them fall, they are a team of 3, and you want to be keeping all these 3 members alive for this next one to get to lxey's position.
How active Desperados are going to be in their compound in the north, because I feel that Na'Vi might sneak in behind them. They've been trading blows a bunch of times, but Desperados keep sort of looking away to check the fields because they're obviously aware of TSM being in the fields next to them. The Na'Vi keep just having a little look, NIP, no surprises, nades aplenty, going down onto DA, but doesn't really find a target. Gax is going in. Let's you watch. You keep an eye on Gax's. He keeps going closer with those nades.
Oh no. I said individuals. This is the problem, boys. You should be grouped up and going for these refrags. Called the Ment can't be saved. Then Menox can't be saved. It'd be nice to see them as a full team of 3 here, getting to lxey's position and fighting this battle.
Well, lxey,
it's a bit disappointing.
Did what he can. PNA down that south side. Now have to move. ENCE. Looking good for ENCE. This position, surely this circle before at some point. It is very open. Body around the edge. Finds that's a pretty good one. CrowCrowd can move. Down to 2. He's on for CrowCrowd.
Hold them back here. This one. The tag might be enough to kind of ultimately into a little room.
Shot. Really, they have to get these. They're holding this line. They've got to move the other side of that. It's not a left ridge. Here's the smokes. DA back actually. DA open terror. Okay, open phase. We'll go for it. It's a headshot, but instantly responded by down low. Get put down. Meanwhile in the field, because Desperado put over the road. Now action on more kills. Get on him. Get back. Go down. Get picked off. And to 1. Simply a grinder. Get out this DA blue. But Yannis has got himself covered in behind. Aduzi will indeed get picked off. BeSTOLOG down to 12 hit points, trying to do what he can. ENCE making moves, just trading out. So this is what they went for. They needed ammo. They needed ammo.
I suppose if they've been there just laying down fire time and time again, Yannis finally strikes. There's the initial one. BeSTOLOG will try and answer back with a grenade. It's right on top of him. That should be dead. Job done. 1 HP. My God, how are you alive?
ENCE have absolutely given up the back of their compound. They haven't realized the GamerLegion have moved in behind them.
Oh no, they're here.
They've completely focused on the north and totally forgot about the fact that FaZe Clan, but they're getting engaged on. Squeaky sees them. That nade is looking good. TRYFFELI will just step away from it. Hence, this could be a big game, but look at this. The focus is pulled. Desperados have moved right up on the back of Squeaky.
Again, they're trying to hold a position which is just so open. You can lay down, but really you can't hold it from a long distance, especially with this many people. The Desperados are sweeping and clearing. If they get down Yannis, they can focus fire and focus all of their attention towards ENCE and anybody. GamerLegion don't realize one player behind them.
Yeah, Edelweiss is completely on their heels. Squeaky in the north. G2 will find out. Edelweiss goes down. That's 4th place for them. Now, ENCE versus Desperados is the main fight. GamerLegions are the fly in the ointment. And actually, they're flashing, smoking. Did they realize that Squeaky's there? They've took shots at Squeaky, so they know he's around there somewhere. SIMSY was trying to spray him down with a barrel. And that barrel up close will absolutely destroy them. But Squeaky, look at that. You just can't see him. You just cannot see him with that little push. But the nade finds him. That's what they needed. And that puts ENCE down to 2. And TRYFFELI and Rustanmar are now going to get flanked.
GamerLegion, time to strike, time to make a move. You're outside the circle. If you want to get stuck in, this is the time to do it. They're back to full health. TRYFFELI and Rustanmar will hold on for the dear life. Squeaky, he's dead. Nothing anyone can do about this. Circle condensed. Generally speaking, everyone bar GamerLegion in a decent position. Ultra is holding an off angle. This keeps the entirety of that field in front of him at bay. No one can make an advancement into it. For them, they can hold the northern side. That's fine. Put 2 up front. Let them do the damage. 2 behind. If the 2 up front fall, then they can at least get this back to even numbers. Squeak goes down. Killing spree comes in. Desperados, this will be a big, big win for them. If they can collect these 4 other points, a 24-point game would sit them very soundly in the first match of Erangel.
Well, they hold the center point. They hold easily 60+% of this circle. With the spread that they've now got, it's looking golden for them. It's really between GamerLegion and ENCE who comes second, who engage each other first. Obviously, GamerLegion are going to have the blues on their back, so they're forced to move. But for Desperados, they've got a really nice 2-2 spread, and they've just managed to find another nade from somewhere. That nade's looking good. That was close to catching Rustanmar's backside. But now look at this. They hold post positions, and it's down to GamerLegion to move. Fex and Hamster smokes out, try to cover their position. The question is, do they catch anyone from Desperados in the play and get caught up in the crossfire? Desperados, they're looking to try and pinch this one off.
They're not necessarily collapsing. They don't have to because they hold the line. But they are condensing in a position that no one has anywhere to move without them being seen. Ideal scenario is that ENCE start to open fire or GamerLegion opens fires initially. They detect one another and the Desperados just follow up for it. You want to be trying to pick these kills up if you're Desperados. Yes, you don't want to overstep your boundaries and lose the game and completely throw it. But it would be nice to pick up as many frags as humanly possible out of these 2 teams left.
Fex and Hamster. Okay, TRYFFELI and Rustanmar, they decided we need to go and sweep the circle. They're going to be around the edge here. They have 12 kills themselves, 8 for Rustanmar alone. Does he just catch a glimpse of Fex or Hamster? Yep. Sees Fex, gets the headshot. TRYFFELI manages to come in, and it's a double peek. It works well. ENCE will take them down. They lose TRYFFELI in the process, but it doesn't matter. Secure 2nd place. That's what they needed. 14 kills in the 2nd place for ENCE. That will be minimum 20 points. He's going to go into the blue. Is he going to go to the play zone? Yes, he is.
He's going to say
and
nope.
They will deny Desperados, and it absolutely is worth doing because these are 2 teams fighting it out down in the bottom 16 positions. And it will be Desperados picking up themselves the victory. They're going to be delighted with that regardless. And it's great to see a finish in the hills like that. That's what I love to see. In the I say hills, in the fields.
It's a battle for the bottom of the table between those 3 teams. ENCE in 14th, Desperados 13th, GamerLegion in 12 in the league standings. Remember that we do have relegation after this phase regardless for the new season of 2020. DESPERADO's 222, GamerLegion 225, ENCE 210, so you understand why he's going to give it up to the blue. It's one of those scenarios where you mathematically work it out, okay, we have someone who's gatekeeping us away from relegation. Let's not bother advancing on the fight and let them take us down.
2 points. We were talking about it right at the start of this game, right? We're talking about that, how 1 point has made the difference between them, and absolutely can be crucial. The Norwegian boys, they're feeling good at last, and you can see Parla, he's down with them.
Oh, hello. I'm down with the boys, the Desperados, who maybe right now are in a bit of a desperate situation overall scoreboard-wise. We'll get onto that after. First things first, getting a chicken dinner. That must be good.
Yes.
How badly have the team wanted it?
I mean, we need the points, so saving this was important. So, I mean, at the end, we could play more aggressive and go for more kill points, but at this point, we just need to save these rounds.
SIMSY, how's the mood been within the team over the last few weeks where things haven't exactly been going according to plan?
In the team, it's been fine. We're just no bad vibes or anything. We just have to work through this phase and just basically survive it. It's really hard to adapt and play against the teams, but I think if we just get into more of a groove, and we just struggle really on Miramar, then I think we'll be fine.
TomiL, what do you think you guys have been doing over the last few weeks that hasn't exactly been working out?
We haven't been playing well, but yeah, that's the main thing. We just do stuff slow, do things wrong. It's not really us doing the things we do, but and also I had a deal with Avenger. He said, I was not gonna shave my head until we got a win, and that took 1 day. So, in your face, Avenger.
Okay, well, let me move over to Ultra and Calvin Klein. Guys, this match overall then, were you happy with how it played out?
No. We didn't get enough kills. Should get 10 more kills.
10 more kills?
Yeah.
All right, and now at this stage in the competition, what are you going to change going forward? Final question.
Kill people. Kill people.
My guys, the Desperados, looking to kill people.
Right, looking to kill people. Great stuff. And of course, we are back here. Desperados getting themselves the win. Bit of an unusual circle overall with how things went down towards the end. Joining me, Frozen Avenger boys. We had a very nice little finish there. A very calm finish, it felt like, for Desperados to take.
There was a lot of fights in the mid game that happened on, and the way everything built up to it. It kind of was expected that we were going to see ENCE towards the end. Obviously, they had a really good spot. They took that early. Desperados, I mean, they took one of the better compounds. We've seen it end south of it a few times. They expected more kills from that. But to be fair, they pushed out in a good amount of time, but all the fighting was just too far away from them. They didn't lose any fights. They didn't lose any players towards the end. They maintained all 4 players alive for a long time. So overall, I think they played that extremely well. And walking away with 20 points like that with 4 players alive, it's a pretty sweet chicken dinner right there.
ENCE actually walked out with 20 points as well. Now, they did make a risky play, though, going that early to the center there. Not only are people having vision from you from all over the place, but at the same time, you're sacrificing your vehicles going into center like that. You don't really have any place to cover them there because they went way too early. But at the same time, they played it well. They got themselves 14 kills. They got a second place, so that's 20 points into the books there.
And even starting things off pretty early with Desperados with some of the kills that were coming in whilst things were going on. Some interesting choices had to be made, of course, but obviously a lot of people did navigate towards the top in the north. Not too many teams had problems really rotating towards the top, it felt like, for this game, even though there was that choice to make slightly when it comes to dedication.
Well, we saw when the circle counter went towards the north there, a lot of teams they're up for going up towards Sark itself.
Yeah.
Now, it could work, but at the same time, a lot of teams will be thinking that. At the same time, you're going to be facing so many other opponents up there. So we saw a team like FaZe, for example, they opted going for the south part instead, the southeast part, up on a mountain there or a hill, and get a lot of map control from there. But it didn't work out. The circle moved away from them, and they had to move a long way.
So one thing we have to talk about, and Erangel, I need to come to you for this. Raise Your Edge, so far, today, has how many points?
0.
0 points.
Not looking good.
Why
They do have sickness on their team though, so I'll give them that. That excuse can be used once per phase.
Sure.
mxey is apparently pretty sick. So all rough day for them so far.
Yep.
They had 4 guys alive. They were pushing CrowCrowd into on a position where they were coming up. They had their back safe. They could have pushed that a lot better. But unfortunately, the execution didn't really pan out for them, unfortunately.
Well, the thing was, when they pushed there, they weren't together, all of them.
Yeah.
So basically, 2 guys went down, and there was no trade coming in as well.
Let's take a look at the points coming in. Unfortunately, 0 points for Raise Your Edge, Pittsburgh Knights, and Reciprocity down towards the bottom there. And let's take a look at our 1 through 8 as well. It's 20 points each for Desperados and ENCE. ENCE was absolutely banging this game.
And you know what? The reason why they're able to get that many kills is because there's so many fighting on the edge.
Yeah.
Usually in a position like that, with how this little mound works in this field, is that the teams on the very top, where CrowCrowd was, they usually shoot at them. The teams from the south, where DESPERADO and NIP fought, they usually shoot at them as well. So usually they have a lot of pressure on them. But because there's so many teams that are fighting on the edge, there was not really that much pressure onto ENCE, which was kind of in the middle of the whole thing. So they managed to get a lot of kills and managed to pick up a lot through the whole match.
As you can see here on the head-to-head, Desperado and ENCE. Now, Desperado, they had a little bit of a tougher time coming in from the northeast, having to go for a lot of teams to shoot them. At the same time, ENCE had a little bit easier, sitting in the middle and just shooting, having a duck hunt, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well done by ENCE. This is kind of the ENCE I want to see more so. I want to see...
Because they're capable of it, we know.
Yes, absolutely.
This is the Phase 1 ENCE that we saw. But at the same time, that we don't have the Phase 1 ENCE right here, right now.
I'm going to be honest. Is ENCE, whilst we look at the full leaderboards here, with TSM very strongly up at the top, almost about to break the 400-point mark. I want to gloss over this for a little bit, though, because for me, obviously, we had frustrations with them in Phase 2 with ENCE. Is ENCE, right now, the most frustrating story in PEL as a whole, in the whole year?
If you're talking, obviously there's a very, very high incoming from Phase 1.
Of course.
They did extremely well. Now they're not performing as we would expect them to be able to after what their performance was in Phase 1, but I want to measure them more to what they are now, where kind of the position they're in now. I think they're capable of more what they're doing. I don't think they deserve to be down in the relegation zone, which they are currently. Yes, they did just get a 20 points here.
But you believe they'll battle out of that position?
I mean, they're 12 points behind Desperados now, 17 Knights, 27 Raise Your Edge.
Yeah.
So 27 points behind Raise Your Edge, which we have praised throughout the phase so far, talks to both that ENCE stepped up, but also Raise Your Edge has had a rough day so far.
One more game to go for today, and it will be on Erangel in a few moments' time here. Desperados just coming off the back of the win with TSM, Reciprocity, and FaZe already picking up wins themselves for Oz.
One thing we've seen today is every single game so far has been very top-heavy. The top 1 or 2 teams have been gathering a lot of points, and that will be pushing these 4 teams at least, and a few others up towards the top for the day, actually.
What thoughts, Spencer?
Obviously, I'm happy to see Desperados be able to jump out. They're 5 points from Knights, 15 points from Raise Your Edge themselves now, but our mid-pack is still extremely big.
Yeah.
From ENCE in 14th, 230, all the way up to Reciprocity in 8th, in 273. It's not a lot of points, and they can still, with a good day, with a good week, they can still jump ahead of that. So everything comes down to how do you play the week, how do you play day to day, make sure you improve from day to day as well.
And you gotta remember, we just passed the halfway mark, so still a lot of time, still a lot of games to play, and I mean, there's still time to catch up. It's not over yet, you can't give up yet. We saw Knights coming into the last day of Phase 2. They got themselves 75 points, pushing them from a 10th place to a 5th place.
Of course, there's even a lot of potential for these players and teams, etc., to try and get themselves traction and ground, especially in that last week, of course, as it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to try and overcome the extra day maybe that could just come along from that. But anyway, thank you very much, gentlemen. As it's time to go to a break here now, of course, for PEL. We had a few issues earlier on, but that's going to be fine. We're going to get that fixed for you in just a little bit's time. So join us after this here for one final map of Erangel for day number